From skin-deep colorism to the quiet shame of internalized racism, colonialism may have left the land but have not left their minds. This video unpacks how many Asians have come to see themselves as lesser while worshipping a whiteness that was never meant to save them. In Asia, the psychological scars of imperial rule still shape how we see ourselves and each other. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the complex relationship between colonialism and colorism. During the period of colonial rule, white skin was associated with the elites, the colonizers, and thus it became a symbol of superiority. On the other hand, dark skin was linked to the working class, laborers, and peasants, those who worked in the fields and did the hard physical work. This racial hierarchy was not just superficial, it was institutionalized. The perception of whiteness as superior was reinforced through law, social structures, and cultural practices. Even though colonialism officially ended, these ingrained ideas about skin color continues to influence how people of different skin tones are perceived. Whiteness is still largely viewed as the epitome of beauty and success, while darker skin remains stigmatized in many societies. This deep-seated belief that lighter is better is what we call colorism. Today, the effects of this legacy are still glaringly obvious. Whitening products dominate the beauty market in countries like Japan, South Korea, and China, where having pale skin is seen as beauty. In fact, some of the most popular skincare brands advertise their products as a way to brighten or whiten their skin, reinforcing a connection between success and beauty. Take this article for example. Natural Gleam instantly made my skin tone lighter, something I had not been able to achieve despite years. But the real question here is, why make your skin tone lighter? It's because it goes beyond personal beauty, it's about class and social status. Be it skincare products, camera filters, or plastic surgeries, Asians often admire and want facial features that are common among white people. Many surgeries that are performed on Asian faces have the goal of making them more white. Double eyelid surgery because white people all have double eyelids, nose jobs to make their noses taller, narrower, and more like white people noses. Take a look at these pictures. They used to be the ideal beauty of Japan. Small eyes, big face, low nose, practically the polar opposite of a typical white face. Although not as prominent as women, we can see this in men too. We see this in movies and among idols where many wear makeup that makes their skin appear noticeably lighter. There's an unwritten expectation to look paler. These are all subconsciously telling us that white is better, white is superior. White isn't just a skin tone. It's a brand, a lifestyle, a symbol of status that's sold to us in everything from cars to everyday products. In Asia, whiteness has become shorthand for class, cleanliness, and success, not just in people, but in products as well. So, what are white products? Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Apple, Dyson, Chanel, Gucci, Prada, and the list just goes on and on and on. Consumers often make snap judgments based on where a product is made or designed. This is known as the country of origin effect. For example, a Danish audio system or a German car is often perceived as automatically better in quality, even before people evaluate its features. In contrast, if a product is made in China, it is often automatically judged as cheap or low quality. Let's have a short quiz here. Which do you think is the more popular product? Apple AirPods Pro or the Sony WF-1000 XM5? Yes, you guessed correctly. The Apple one. Even though many tech reviewers agree that the Apple AirPods Pro are actually inferior in key areas to their Asian competitor, it's still the more popular one because white product is a lifestyle and it's not just a product. They signal wealth and success. Let's be honest, in countries like Japan, Korea, and China, White foreigners, especially Western men, are often seen as more desirable dating partners.
I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's white.
They are often associated with higher income, more romantic, more manly, and more sociable. Asian men, on the other hand, are often seen as more of a consolation prize. And where can we see this bias? Yes, our good friend online dating apps. A social experiment has been conducted in China through an Asian dating app called Tantan, where they put together profiles using photos from Western and Chinese Instagram models, then swipe right 1,000 times on singles in the area. They found out that the Western male model had an 12% match rate, while the Asian male model had a 3% match rate. Same results to the Western female model, which had a staggering 65% match rate, and the Asian female model had a 14% match rate. Caucasian men and women match with around 4 times that of their Asian counterparts in China. You've probably heard the term passport bros by now.
Passport bro.
Passport bro.
Passport bros.
Passport bro. Passport bros. Passport bros.
Asian women are often seen as easy targets for these Western men, but that's not because white men prefer Asian women, it's because the women are seeking them out. Some even go as far to marry a foreign man just so their babies will look better. Having a white partner is a status symbol for them. And these beliefs don't just come from strangers, they come from our mothers, our aunties, and even ourselves. When a white man has lived for 2 years in Japan and is able to say arigato, you often see Japanese people say, "Wow, Nihongo jouzu desu ne," praising him for that. Meanwhile, a Chinese or Korean immigrant who is fluent in Japanese, I wouldn't say no compliments at all, but it's like it's expected from them. The shock factor isn't as prominent. This is white worship in soft focus. The idea that when white people try, it's extraordinary, while others are just expected to perform. In Asia, if you're teaching English, most of the time it isn't about language skills or teaching qualifications, but having a particular image. And yes, that's being white. A hot take here, but Westerners are often seen as cool tourists, whereas Chinese or Indians are often portrayed as rude and ill-mannered tourists, or even worse, outsiders, workers, or even intrusions. The over-enthusiastic praise, the automatic respect, the assumption that they must be smart or they must be rich, it isn't healthy for both parties. Because white people are also most likely to be scammed as they portray a rich image. Not only that, many scammers use the names and appearance of Caucasians because, you guessed it, they are more trustable. But recently, thanks to or no thanks to several nuisance influencers, this image might have slowly shifted, but I highly doubt, and as time passes, we might return to our white worshipping roots again. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the people who hold us back the most look exactly like us. This is internalized racism. When we unconsciously believe the lie that being white is better and being Asian means we're a little bit less.
Do not speak Singlish. If you do, you are the loser.
British English is seen as classy, American English as aspirational, while Japanese, Chinese, Thai, or Vietnamese accents are often dismissed with, "I don't understand you."
Would you like to eat chicken or beef? Chicken, please.
See? If it gets through, it's all good, right? But who told us that one kind of English is better than another? Who said an Asian accent is broken but a white one is fluent? Who decided that the closer you sound to a white person, the smarter or the more credible you are? We did. Or more accurately, we were trained to. I'm also calling out Japanese who underestimate a white person's Japanese too. Well, all jokes aside, we Asians grew up thinking that whiteness was beauty. that it meant success, intelligence, romance. But here's the truth, not being white and being yourself is totally fine too. I'm not here saying that being white or loving a white person is wrong. I'm saying don't obsess over whiteness to the point that you forget how beautiful your own ethnicity is. Don't let the idealization of another culture make you despise your own. We all have flaws, we all have our imperfections. And to all Asians watching this, you were never less. And to the white, you continue to be you. If this video hit you the wrong way, share your thoughts in the comments. And as always, have a great one and peace out.